right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. It is time for In the Garden with Carol Ann. Carol Ann Baldwin is here to talk to you about your lawn, your garden, the things you need to do to prepare in case the hurricane blows through your trees, and all the above. If you have anything you want to say to Carol Ann, whether it's a question or you just want to say hi, the number is 352-622-9622. That's 622-9622. Remember, Carolyn does this for a full hour, so the earlier you call, the more time she has to be able to give you a complete and thorough answer.
Right.
If it needs it.
If it needs it.
Sometimes it's a simple yes or no, right?
True.
Yeah.
True. Or just a simple. But then again, too, it could also bring up a discussion with somebody else having
Something
a
else,
very
yeah.
similar problem or success or whatever
Right,
that
right.
they, So it all works out. That's the one great thing about live radio.
Yes,
Is
where
that,
the audience
yeah.
can interact with you.
You can interact and everything, and another
Yeah.
interaction would be the Facebook page.
Right, and you have
So
a wonderful...
the In the Garden Facebook page, open to everybody. You just need to join.
You need to join, yes.
Yeah, just we're keeping it closed only to protect your pages. Hearing all the days of everybody's getting hacked. No, they weren't. I just got everybody to post that thing. That's all that did.
Oh, yeah, I saw that notice.
It's kind of going, I never got a friend request from any of my friends during this past week of everybody going, if anybody gets it. So it was all a hoax and got everybody to join in. But no, it is a way that, at least nobody from outside should be able to be getting it. They would have had to ask to have been a member.
Yeah.
And of course, if you post something and somebody does reply in a negative, always let me know.
Just let you know, and you'll take care of it. Get
we'll
rid
just
of
zap
it.
them out. That's it.
Yeah.
Won't take that stuff. But
Yeah, it's as nice of a Facebook page as the garden is itself. I try to put something on. Crap is in there.
No politics. It's all just. Occasionally maybe you might think the article might be political in your own sense, but I'll share something that comes from UF, on some research-based things, but that's what it is research-based things. It's not a political, but many people think their own.
All right, here's a
slants
political
on things.
question
Yeah.
for you, and it's probably it's an unfair question because you probably need to do research. But how many elected officials are actually oversee anything agricultural or garden related?
You have the agricultural commissioner.
That's the only one I can think of.
But I think you have some that, like, possibly through, state-wise, the commissioner, but then I guess there are some things that have to go through the full House or Senate and things like that you might think agriculturally or environmentally might be the other part of it, is that the EPA is going to put their thing, because environmental protection also comes down to the home gardener as well. That's the rules and regulations on fertilizer applications and things like that. So there are quite a bit more places that politics are involved. Maybe not directly in your backyard, but indirectly by other regulations, whether it's by watering restrictions, fertilizer restrictions, and manufacturing labeling requirements and things like that.
I'm wondering if the elected officials that make those rulings, who are not garden or agriculture specialists, I wonder if they just make those rulings based on advisement, like from the university,
because even reading up on something does not give you the full research or anything like that. You would, takes a very long time. I mean, they're only in session for a few months out of every year.
Yeah.
And these things, the scientists or the research people who've learned about it have spent years doing it, and here we're presenting you with our findings and what we're asking for you to do on behalf of what we're doing. So it's it's a whole thing.
Are there any that you think are just stupid? Any agricultural rules, or do you think they all make sense to you? And again, I'm asking you.
To the ones that I'm really familiar with, I think most of them make sense to a point. Now, I'm not a big fan of legislate over educate. We went through this with the fertilizer restrictions and such like that in Pinellas and Hillsborough counties. Well, it's coming to other counties, and I really believe that the fertilizer restrictions will go statewide a lot sooner than I thought. I really thought that the way that they were pushing different things, and it is, it might be for the best interest only because people are dumb. Yeah, or people are between arrogance and ignorance. That hey, the rules don't apply to me, as well as I don't care what they say, kind of thing. This is what I've always done. Right. I just don't know, and so this is what somebody told me to use.
The one of the states in New England, I don't want to say it's Vermont, but I think it was, wants to do away with allowing people to put their raked up leaves in plastic bags because the plastic bags are the problem. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, see, now a lot of communities, because I work down there at the villages, I see that all the time. All of their yard waste has to be in paper.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's all in paper yard bags, unless it's like limbs and things like that. Then I believe they can be neatly stacked. But yes, all collection on that is in a paper recyclable.
Done with plastic bags
on yard waste because the paper can be composted just as well. Or run through a shredder.
Okay. Okay. Well, that makes sense. So, maybe that's why they're doing it then.
And quite possibly. I mean, now, if you rake your own leaves and grass clippings and stuff like that and put them in a plastic bag and tie that up and stick it in the back corner by the fence and maybe flip it over every so often, throw a little water in there, maybe a shovel full of dirt in there or a handful of fertilizer, tie that bag up and flip it over every so often. Maybe walk it down the fence and kill the weeds off on the fence too. By springtime, you'll have a nice little bag of compost.
Oh, okay.
So, you could do that. But, I mean, to bag them up, actually, to bag your leaves and stuff like that, God put the leaves on the trees. He made the seasons to where the leaves grow and fall and grow and fall. And when the leaves fall off the tree and hit the ground, guess what? They break down and they feed the tree. So why we rake up the leaves? Anyway, some of the larger leaves, run them over with a lawnmower. They're going to break down.
Yeah, break them down. Help them out a little bit.
You don't no need to rake them up and stuff. Or if you need to clean them up a little bit, catch them up in the catcher, put them along your fence line or back in the beds and things like that. They're gonna break down into something, and so.
Ready for a call?
Yeah, sure.
By the way, if you'd like to call, the number is 622-9622. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
One of the highlights of my week is talking to Caroline on Tuesday.
Well, thank you.
I'd love to have you for a neighbor. I'd probably drive you nuts.
What you got today?
Not that I'm trying to push the Christmas season because Walmart's doing that. They had their Christmas stuff up in the garden center for a couple weeks. But my wife was saying she kind of would like to have a live Christmas tree for the first time in many, many years.
Okay.
And I got all the stuff up in the garage attic, so I've got everything up there. But I was thinking of maybe I would like to go with a live tree like from Bob Wine's.
Okay.
It's got a root ball. And bring that in the house and and then plan it when we're through. Some questions about that are now. Do you need a special tree stand? Because how big is the root ball, and how do you handle something like that?
Usually, a lot of times, something like that, depending on the size you're getting. I'm not sure if Bob Wines is going to have it because you would be thinking about a Baldwin burlap if you're looking for something that's going to be a tree of say 6 to 7 feet. As a tree that you would be planting out in the landscape again. And I'm not even sure you'll get one that size that would actually be Baldwin burlap. They may just be in a pot. And if that's the case, just put something on the floor that you can, have a little lip to where when you give it a little bit of water, it's not going to pour out onto your floor. That would be your biggest concern on that. And they actually do. You can get like the mats, either that you might have in front of your sink, or even like a bath mat underneath there where it would absorb water. That's not such a huge tree that you couldn't slide it out of the way, be able to mop and clean underneath so that you know that it's dry, not damaging your floor. Otherwise, the Baldwin burlap, you may actually have to go to like a Christmas tree farm that's growing them. I may have to look some of that up to see, in the area who has truly live Christmas trees. Not just fresh cut.
Yeah. So you're kind of saying that Bob Wines probably doesn't have what I'm thinking about.
He may not. I mean, he may have some cedar trees and things like that, or other arborvitae or something like that in a decent size, but probably not in a Baldwin burlapped. I'm not where it would be a big tree. And then how do you get that in and out of the house?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you got a big slider door, okay, it's pretty easy to do. Same thing you would do with a fresh cut tree. But I know a lot of people who do a living tree, a live tree. They actually do something small and then put it out, and maybe have their real or their artificial tree or fresh cut tree in for all the decorations and stuff, or to be able to put the gifts under. Otherwise, you're putting a 2-gallon pot up on a big bench.
Yeah, with a live tree, like if you put a lot of, let's say, the older lights that get kind of warm or even hot, would that be bad for that tree? Yeah,
probably would, only because it's going to dry that out. Same thing with a fresh cut tree; it dries it out more quickly if you're using the old school C9s, or those were the ones that, as far as I know, were C9s and C12s that were actually got warm. But most of them, if you have any new lights today, they're all LED kind of thing, and they don't get hot. The lighting is weird on them, but they don't get warm.
Yeah, well, if Bob Wines would have something like, maybe it's only 4 or 5 foot high, that's in a pot, that would solve that problem. I could always, just display that on a stool and elevate it a little bit like that,
Right. That's it. Yeah.
I was going to say now, after the holidays, what I would do, I wouldn't probably have that in the house for maybe more than at least less than 2 weeks, And would it be advisable to keep it in the pot until spring, or plant it right away after the holidays?
You could plant it right away after the holidays, because that's going to be a hardy evergreen type tree. Now, I just thought of one you might find somewhere in a decent size. Might be something like a East Palatka or a Savannah holly. Both of those are evergreen trees. They're both hollies, obviously. I said, in there. They will make berries for you in the landscape, and they're usually pruned or kind of naturally grow in a somewhat of that pyramidal shape. Yeah. That can be, that when they're put out in the landscape, and you may find one of those of a decent size in a pot, or in a Baldwin burlap. Just realize Baldwin burlap trees are very heavy.
Right. I personally, I just love those Norfolk pines, but I guess they don't do well here.
Norfolk Island is an island off the coast of New Zealand, and they really don't like our cold. And if they did get themselves going, they grow to 80 feet. So then when we have a horrible winter and they freeze, you're cutting down a big tree.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's just a beautiful tree.
And you can use them year after year for one. You just keep bumping it up in a pot for several years, and then decide, okay, I'm going to get rid of this one, or and start over again after. But it takes probably 6, 7, 8 years before you ever need to go that far.
Well, real quickly, we broke our drought yesterday evening. We had 1.5 inches of rain in half an hour. That might have been too quick, but at least it was rain. Good old rain.
Right.
But, according to the Weather Channel, on the maps, it looks like our area here is in for possibly at least 2 to 4 inches of rain, hopefully. So
at least
we don't want the
we don't want the winds and stuff, and that may be mostly on the western side of the county. It may not get all the way across, or at least the excessive rains. We may just get a little bit once you get past that I-75 corridor. To the other side of the county.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have lawn service, and my lawn. I've been calling my lawn guy. I said, "Well, my grass isn't growing. We don't get any rain over here." And he lives west of 75, and just about every day they get a half an inch of rain. I said, "By the time it gets over here, it putters out." It's just like that all the time.
It can't cross over, and that's just the way the rain bands come across between the Gulf and the Atlantic. You get the just the way the rain bands come through. That's why, that just the way the temperatures change and things like that. That's why fall and winter become our dry seasons, is just the weather patterns change and the wind, the wind stream and things like that all change, and we don't get the moisture. Like where northern states will get the snow with it during those times, and that's the primary their moisture for the year, where we get ours in the summer months during the rainy season.
Yeah, well, I watch the Weather Channel, especially now with something interesting to follow.
Right.
But of course, being from Milwaukee, I always hit what's going on up there, and they're going to be 79 today, and Wednesday the high is going to be 46. So the cold fronts are coming.
Yeah, and I heard that here by the end of the week we should be actually possibly overnight lows. I don't think they'll stay there for very long. The upper 50s for Marion and Alachua counties.
Oh, does that sound good? I just can't wait to open up my house and let the dogs run free.
and turn the AC off for a few weeks.
Oh, God, boy, that poor AC really worked hard. My biggest bill was in September, not in July this year.
Yeah, yep. So,
So I guess we set some kind of records, according to whatever the weather people said. That was the warmest September on record. So, God, let's hope that don't repeat.
Let's hope.
Okay, well, thank you. Let's hope and pray that the storm ain't too bad and that we get a little bit of rain out of it.
Let's hope so.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks for calling.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
And Carolyn, you have a call from Lori Williams at Baldwin's Community Gardens.
Fantastic.
Good morning, Lori. You're on with Carol Ann.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good
How
morning.
are you guys doing?
Real good.
Hey, Carol Ann.
Yeah.
I heard him asking about the Christmas tree, so I just kind of figured I would call in and let everybody know that we will have living Christmas trees.
Okay.
We will have them in 7-gallon pots that will be 4 to 5 feet.
Okay.
That are sheared like Christmas trees.
Right.
And then we will also have 15-gallon pot ones that'll probably be like 6 to 7 feet tall.
Okay.
And those are not too difficult, to bring in the house.
No. The 7-gallon you said was 4 to 5?
Yeah, they're 4 to 5 feet,
okay.
And we'll have robin blue cedars in those, and then in the 15s we'll also have some Carolina blue sapphires, which are really pretty.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So, that's great.
I just wanted to call in and let everybody know that we will have those living Christmas trees, and we do sell a number of them. That way they can bring them in, and then plant them in the yard afterwards, which is always nice.
Oh, and that's the reason people are looking to bring in a tree like that, because it can make great memories too, especially if you have younger children or something. That here's a tree that we can have forever and ever. And I have a friend who has a cedar that she and her daughter planted. It was a Christmas tree when her daughter was very young. Her daughter's now in 30, I believe, and so the tree is fantastic out in the yard now.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, anyways, I just wanted to call in and let him know that we will have them. And usually we get them in like right there around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
The week of Thanksgiving or the week after Thanksgiving, we start carrying them.
All right. Thank you. I'm making notes of it here so that I've got it.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you,
guys.
Right,
thank you.
Thank you, Lori. The phone line is open if you want to call. The number is 622-9622. I know you had a few people kind of waiting in the wings, so if you want to call through now, you'll be able to get through right now.
I was going to say, and at the bottom of the hour, we again have two pair of tickets to Born Yesterday going on live on stage at the Ocala Civic Theater beginning October 18th, running through November the 11th. So if maybe at the bottom of the hour when we go to break, we'll answer calls for that. And again, if you've won tickets before, please give somebody else a chance. Pick up on something next time. And we also give each of the winners a gift certificate to Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens and Nursery. And remember, this only is for plants, but it's also not included on seasonal plants. So those wonderful living Christmas trees, I'm sure, are not going to be part of this $20 gift certificate.
Okay.
Yeah, just realize that that's sometimes those cost them quite a bit to bring in just to offer you, their customer, a nice quality product. So don't expect your gift certificate to do on.
That's a nice idea.
Plans.
A live Christmas tree.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially if you're looking to add something to your landscape that can be a nice tree, nice evergreen. In this case, and that either as a memory tree, it can be done as a celebration. If you've got children, grandchildren, again, that makes a great way to remember a specific holiday.
Yeah. It's a really cool idea. Yeah. So what would you do? How would you research it, for example? Like if you wanted to buy one, you know where to go. Baldwin's is a great answer right there.
And that's, actually, I was going online. We have Baldwin's. Sometimes just calling around to some of the nurseries, because obviously they're going to be ones to be able to take care of something like that versus a tree lot.
Right.
The ones that set up, the week before Thanksgiving, and boom, they've got cut Christmas trees. But I was trying to look through some of the local Christmas tree farms here, and we'll find out some some other as well locations. But Baldwin's being their fantastic sponsor of the show,
absolutely.
We will.
But what I was getting at is I wonder how you would look it up, research. You sort of kind of answered it, I guess. If let's say you wanted to buy a tree as a gift for somebody who lived in another state, so you need to know their Baldwin's, for example.
Right. Yeah, and be able to call. And I've had. I've even had customers call and wondering, does Lowe's deliver? I said, well, you don't want Lowe's to deliver flowers for you because it's going to cost you $80. But you could get them a gift card to pick it up. And sometimes a gift certificate from a local nursery.
Idea.
And you can call from out of state to any nursery around and go, hey, listen, I have a friend that lives in your area. I would love to give them a plant for Christmas, but I'm in Ohio, or Maine, Ocala. Kentucky, or you're in Ocala and you're wanting to give one there, and you have no idea what's going to be available and when. You call those nurseries when you know that they're near their area, and usually they'll all print some type of gift certificate that you can mail to. They'll mail to you, and you can mail to them.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Really good idea. And P.S. If you are listening out of the area because you've got friends here, Baldwin's does sell gift certificates too, right?
Yes, they sure do.
All right. We've almost at the bottom of the hour here, but Carol Ann is here for a full hour, which means we've got about 33 minutes before the show is over. 3 minutes before this segment is over, and in these 3 minutes, we want to make sure you know that during the upcoming break, if you call in and we answer the phone,
right,
then you will win a couple of tickets to
Born Yesterday
at the Ocala Civic Theater, and also a gift certificate to
Baldwin's Community Gardens and Nursery. Right,
nice little prize. Okay, so we'll do that in about 2 minutes. Looks like.
So, yeah, and actually I'm going to look around here, and you figure we are coming towards, and everybody's going, the holidays already. It's not even Halloween. But if you think about it, people are thinking about this. You're thinking about what you're doing for dinner for Thanksgiving.
Like
You're thinking about gifts. I mean, even in my own head, I'm trying to think of how am I going to budget my holiday this year and things like that. That usually, your fresh cut trees around, you can keep your tree good in your house, a fresh cut tree in the home for an extended time if you take care of it. I always tell people when I get mine, first when it comes home, it gets that fresh cut, comes home into a bucket of hot water. And I see our clock's aiming towards the bottom of the hour here, so we can always continue it after the bottom. And just take proper water into that tree, and your tree will stay. Because I got mine on Black Friday, and I kept it up until New Year's.
Nice.
So yes, it was dropping leaves through the house as I'm getting it out. But it's a dead tree. So
there you go. All right, if you want the tickets for the theater, call right now 622-9622. Remember, if we come out of the break and we have not answered the phone, then unfortunately you did not win.
That's it.
That's the only way we can do it. So you will not be on the air, but we'll be right back.
Mass evacuations underway in parts of the Florida Panhandle as Hurricane Michael, now a Category 2, churns closer.
The Florida Panhandle hasn't seen a storm like this in over a decade, so people need to be listening to their local officials.
Fox meteorologist Janice Dean.
We are going to see a landfall of this hurricane, probably a major hurricane tomorrow, but we're expecting a strengthening storm as it makes landfall. The right side of this storm is going to bring the worst of the storm surge, the worst of the winds.
It's the first day on the bench of the U.S. Supreme Court for Justice Brett Kavanaugh after his ceremonial swearing in at the White House last night, during which the president lashed out at those who fought his confirmation.
Those who step forward to serve our country deserve a fair and dignified evaluation.
The High Court is hearing 2 hours of arguments beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern. This is Fox News.
At Robert Half, we know finding the right employees is a job in itself, and it's a job we love. You see, Robert Half isn't just a staffing firm. We're people. People who believe in finding the right people to fit your company's needs. Because employees who are a good fit are more productive, more engaged. Finding a great candidate isn't easy. But at Robert Half, we know it's possible. Robert Half, the experts in accounting, finance, IT, legal, marketing, and administrative staffing. Learn more at roberthalf.com/radio.
Pros in the know start with Lowe's, because Lowe's makes it easy to save every day on every job. Working on a kitchen or bathroom? Right now you can take 10% off all American Olean subway tile and enhance the look of any property. Plus, save time by ordering ahead online, and your order will be ready for pickup in-store. Stop by or visit lowesforpros.com for details. So, Pro, now that you know, start with Lowe's. Offer valid through 10/14 while supplies last. U.S. only.
The 14th Annual Florida Bat Festival is October 20th from 10 till 5 at the Luby Bat Conservancy, 1309 Northwest 192nd Avenue in Gainesville. The Flying Giants are here to save the day. Come meet the Winged Crusaders, no capes needed, and celebrate some real superheroes of nature. Admission is $8 for adults, $5 for children ages 5 through 12, and children under 4 are admitted free. This fun, family-friendly festival features games, music, environmental organizations, crafts, food trucks, a beer garden, and of course, our superhero bats. Come have fun at the Luby Bat Conservancy.
Are you ready for some cool weather? Well, Bob Wines at Bob Wines Camellia Gardens in Ocala is ready with their first great sale of the fall, with unbeatable bargains all over their huge 5-acre store. There's a fabulous truckload sale on azaleas, more than you've ever seen in one place, with dwarf ever-blooming azaleas, red ruffles, still just $3.99. A long list of perennials, all your favorites, still with lots of blooms, are half price. Easy Care Drift and Knockout Roses are priced way down at $14.99. And listen to this, all palm trees in stock, 25% off. Bob Wines has fruit trees for half price, and same goes for citrus trees. Remaining stocks are marked down 50%. Go to bobwinescamelliagardens.net and check this week's ad for all the specials. Bob Wines on Southeast 38th Street, Ocala. Open daily till 4, Saturdays till 2, in the same blooming place since 1952.
There's a lot to love about Freddy's frozen custard and steak burgers.
I love the really little thin crispy fries.
Love Freddy's for the patty melts and the turtle sundaes.
It's gotta be the custard. It's gotta be the custard.
The California steak burger is my favorite.
It reminds me what burgers used to taste like when I was a kid.
I love Freddy's.
Stop in for Freddy's famous steak burgers, cooked to order and topped your favorite way, all on a butter toasted bun. Freddy's frozen custard and steak burgers, the taste that brings you back.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440. Our tractor services include bush hog, disking, front end loader, box blade, and stump grinding. We also have zero-turn mowers for the smaller paddocks, aisleways, fence rows, and lawn care. Fence row spraying is also available for weed control. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440, or online at powellgene, Gene, at yahoo.com. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Gene is a proud United States veteran.
All right, just about 25 minutes before 10 o'clock, real quickly, an update on Hurricane Michael. Oh, my gosh. Let's see. Hurricane Michael has strengthened to a Category 2 intensity, is forecast to strike the Florida Panhandle as a Category 3. So there's really not a whole lot more information. It still has the same cone of possibility, keeping us out of the danger zone, but that doesn't mean that the outer bands won't be affected.
Right. Right. Yeah.
In fact, this is part of it, actually.
I believe it is. Yeah. And it's kind of looking like, oh yeah, we're going to have just some weather. Hopefully, we will get some nice rain out of it. I mean, it's always beneficial to get a little bit of rain here in October. I would probably make sure that if you've got containers outside, or even your plants that are in pots and stuff, because we could get a lot of rain. Pull them up under cover so you're not drowning them, or blowing around. If you've got some empty ones, maybe you've potted up some smaller stuff here at the end of the summer, so that they'll go through the winter and rest up, be ready to go in spring. Any empty pots that are around the yard, you might want to make sure that your table umbrellas are put away. We might get some gusts and some winds. And as they always say, there's always a possibility, probably not in our area, but tornadoes can spawn off the hurricanes and off the outer bands, and you never know. So better to be safe than sorry. Nothing worse than just the rain can be enough. To damage things out in the yard. So, be smart.
Yeah.
Be smart.
Yeah, some of those flooded areas that have been underwater now for a long time. I think is there St. Leo County? Does that sound right?
St. Lucie County.
Maybe that's where it was. Yeah. They were showing it on Channel 20. They were showing these entire yards that the water hasn't gone down in months.
Right. In certain areas where it's just, there's either a clay base or the water table is very high. And so, and my understanding, the aquifer is quite full right now. And so excess water is just going to cause some flooding. And they said some flash flooding. I'm not on a lake or a river, so I know I'm not going to have an issue with that. And I'm a little higher. There is a swamp within my neighborhood.
Oh, really?
There is, actually. It holds water, but they've got the road up high enough now that doesn't usually go across, but it can wash part of that. We get heavy storms and stuff like that in my and it'll wash out parts of the road to where you're going, oops, let's drive a little more slowly. Yeah, I know. I moved a little bit south. Just not much, by about 3 months. 3 miles.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just before you get to the sheriff's substation, the neighborhood off to the on the south end.
There's some noises happening.
But thinking back to I know it's October, but pumpkins. Hey, why don't we hit pumpkins up? Because Halloween is coming. Everybody wants their pumpkins. Right. I think the pumpkin patch moved to the United Methodist Church from Druid Hills, and I don't even have the flyer in front of me, so I'm doing good. When you're looking for a pumpkin, look for a pumpkin without soft spots on it, without blemishes, because we know with Florida's heat, you cut a pumpkin and it's going to rot within just a matter of 2 weeks. So if you've got a pumpkin and the kids want to do something with it early, paint it. Or do markers first, and then that weekend. What do you got? You got a weekend right before Halloween. That Saturday, you can sit down. You can cover the pumpkin up, and do different things. But there's supposed to be some little hacks that you can do to help preserve the pumpkin. By once it's all carved, clean it out thoroughly, and then like a bucket full of water with a bleach solution in it, and dunk and let that thing soak up some of that's supposed to help. I've heard, do one or the other. Don't do both because you might cause a chemical reaction. I've heard spraying the pumpkins with like a sealer kind of thing, once they're carved is going to help. But to me, why not just make Halloween as a Wednesday this year? So, if you get your pumpkin early, keep it as just a complete pumpkin until, say, that weekend. You carve the pumpkin up and you're finishing up making costumes and that kind of fun stuff, and then set it all out as a carved pumpkin. But let's see, what do we got? Pumpkin patch time. We'll have to just read this and
I'm not really sure. I might have handed
Smallest pumpkins start at $1, $1.50, $2. Larger pumpkins available for purchase for your classroom or home. So those are. So actually, if you have a daycare or maybe you do a homeschool program, there are some pumpkins that can be purchased. I guess if you're going to have to show. Proof that that's who you are. But they have a Facebook page, Facebook at Ocala Pumpkin Patch. Obviously, all one word, is going to be their Facebook patch, and it gives you some ideas that it's open October 11th through the 31st with a special trunk or treat event on Halloween night.
And you have a phone
call? Cool.
Yep. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Yeah, Caroline, you real quick with pumpkins. I buy several pumpkins because we love pumpkin seeds.
Okay.
And after the pumpkins are sitting around for a while, they do get soft. And would it be good to kind of chop them up, and would they be doing any good to put them in your garden area?
You could compost what's left of the pumpkin, sure. Sure. Well,
okay.
Yeah. And I know there's people who will buy some of them, whatever's left over at the end of the season and stuff, because, well, pumpkins usually, if the stores have them, they'll have them all the way up until like Thanksgiving, because the small pie pumpkins, which, are the little ones, the ones with the sweeter flesh. But the jack-o'-lantern pumpkins, sometimes the stores will have some left, and you can usually get them cheap or whatever. You can get your pumpkin seeds out of there, chop them up, throw them in the compost bin, and let it go.
Yeah. Would you recommend with the pumpkins that are getting ripe to put in the garden area, would you recommend chopping them up and just sprinkling or laying them on the top of the soil, or kind of working them in through the soil?
I would bury them down in the soil, because if you leave it on top, the raccoons and stuff are just going to come eat them.
Okay.
Yeah, raccoons like pumpkins, and stuff, so...
Yeah. Okay, rather than throwing the pumpkins in the garbage, I'll make use out of them and chop them up and put them in the garden area.
There you go. That'll work.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So that's just, one of those little things. And I think last week I made mention, because here, as we are going into the holiday season, your Christmas cactus and your poinsettias, just a reminder, do something to protect them from those street lamps, because guess what? It's dark earlier, and it doesn't get lighter till later. It was this morning I was up because I knew I wanted to go to the Ag Center in the morning, and so I got up early, and I've got the door open because it was nice. I got, you know what? It's still dark out. It's 6:30. It's 7, and at 7 it was starting to get. It was bright, but it wasn't light out. It was one of those kind of things going, so our porch lights may be coming on more and things like that. So if you have poinsettia or Christmas cactus that's sitting out where street lamps or your porch lights, if you're on automatic dusk to dawn lights and things like that, if they're on, they're going to trick those plants into thinking it's still a warmer season, is that it's not time to set bud. So put them, or cover them. It's the weather's still nice. You could just cover them to make sure that they're in darkness. They just need that few weeks of darkness when it's dark outside in order to get them started on.
Kind of like a parrot. You got to cover a parrot, otherwise
to keep
it won't
it quiet,
go to sleep.
Right? Yeah, and other birds too. You just here, hush, cover them up. Now here, put on buds, cover you up. But those kind of things.
We had a guy in here one time from oh my gosh, Kenny's nursery. Mm-hmm. And he was holding onto a box the whole time he was talking to us. It was at the other studio. And at the end of it, he wanted to reveal what was in the box.
Okay, because that's got to be intriguing.
And it was a rooster.
But he was all quiet in it because it was dark.
Yeah, and it never made a peep.
Well, because predators are out at night.
Oh, so they just stay still.
So they're gonna be quiet. They're gonna be on their perch. They're gonna sleep and things like that.
That's
usually they sleep. But
I love that trick.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing of covering the bird cages. It might be during the day, or maybe you're having. I knew somebody who had little parakeets in a guest bedrooms where their cage was. Well, those parakeets would cheep and peep, and as soon as the sun started to peep through that window, and so if someone was staying in that guest room, you'd have to cover that cage because those parakeets were going to wake somebody up at the crack of dawn.
So wait a minute. Is that why a magician can keep a rabbit or a dove kind of hidden in his clothing until he's ready for the trick?
No, well, one, they're restricted in there. The bunnies.
It's dark.
It's dark.
I'm not moving.
It's dark. I'm quiet. Well, I'm going to go to sleep. We all kind of do the same thing.
Where do they keep it, though? Where do they keep that rabbit?
It's in a pocket. It's a pocket pet. But I'm trying to think of some of your other holiday stuff, and again, if you're contemplating, a live tree, and actually I just hit up the one. Go online if you're looking for fresh cut tree. You want to go cut your own or a live tree. Bob Wine's is a great local resource here. That they're going to have 7-gallon and 15-gallon trees. So they're not massive trees, but a nice size that you can bring into the home. And what'd she say? Robin blue spruce, I believe it was, and then a Carolina sapphire. And I'm sorry if I got them wrong. Which is should be able to grow here afterwards. But I went to the Christmas Tree Farms in Florida, and it's the freshfromflorida.com website. And so this is all agricultural products and consumer service products for Florida. So these are, and there's a Christmas tree farm locator. And so there's little Christmas trees all on the state of Florida, and you can click on those. And some of these will have living trees, not just fresh cut, but your ways to find out where they are near you. And there's a few of them in our area also. Candy cane is one of them. I had that page open, and I went ahead and opened this one on top of them. So, but there's a few of them in our area also for fresh cut trees, as well as the Ocala National Forest allowing you to get a permit to go into certain areas and harvest a tree. Just remember that you are out of doors. You are in natural areas. Wear proper attire.
You're going to get ticks, too.
You need to watch for ticks. You need to wear closed-toed shoes. Watch for stumps and other insects and things like that. You are out of doors. It's not, a nice, sterile environment of a home or a business. So just remember that when you're planning this. And in Florida, it could be anywhere from hot to cold. So.
That's right.
Depending on the time of year.
Usually hot,
right? Just keeping your tree, and you decide to purchase a freshly cut Florida-grown tree, make sure it's appropriate size for your home and the stand. Your stand's got to be able to hold water for this tree. Freshness is important when you're looking for selecting your trees. Needles should be resilient. Trees should have good fragrance and a good green color. Fresh tree will retain its moisture content and thereby keep its fragrance and needles. If kept in a stand that has good water holding capacity, a tree that is moist when brought into the home and is kept moist by adding water through at the base of the trunk, and it won't be a fire hazard. As I said, when I get a fresh cut tree, and this is what I recommend to people. Yes, there's all kinds of different little additives I guess you can buy, and what it is designed to keep the capillaries of that tree open so that tree can absorb that water you're providing for it. So when I got my tree home, it didn't go in the house right away. It actually sat in the shade on my front porch in a bucket of water for about a week, maybe 10 days. I trimmed off a few bottom branches so that it would fit in there. But I started out with the hottest my tap water could be and dumped it in there and got half a bucket, stuck that tree in there, tried to keep the tree more upright so that it didn't crush any of the branches, turned it around every couple of days so I wasn't bending or crushing any of the branches, and kept water on that stump, on that trunk, for the 10 days, and I hosed it down too, just to keep that humidity up within there. And you want to try to do that. And then when I brought it in the house, I got it into the stand outside, and when I brought it in, I immediately filled that stand with warm water again. Plants and cold water don't go hand in hand. They're not used to being watered with snow or ice. They're meant to be watered with the temperature of water coming out of the sky, which is generally warm for us. So that's why I use the warm.
But not
water.
hot, not like you boiled it.
Well, no, not like boiled water. But on that first one, I use pretty hot water, pretty much as hot as my tap will go.
Oh, really?
Because it's going to cool so quickly in a bucket. It's just I take the bucket in the tub, put enough in there, and stick it in there, and after that, it's probably going to be a jug full out of the kitchen sink, but probably not hot, but.
So what I just printed for you was the Bob Wine's flyer.
Wine's head,
I didn't read the whole thing, but I don't think the Christmas trees are on this one.
No,
so maybe next one.
Probably not next one even. I think she said November.
Okay.
Would be early November on that, because just they're not getting them in yet. They'll probably start advertising them to be coming in. But there's all kinds of different things, and I had heard it on the radio on my way in. Their azalea sale, their number ones are $3.99. Number fours, the fashion and white ruffle and all kinds of other azaleas, and the number 4 pot is $4.99. They've got some great roses are all half price. Easy Go, the Drift and the Knockouts are all half price right now. So hey, you go in, you can get some nice landscape plants. And yes, this is a good time of year to plant. Even though we're dry, this gives you the chance to control the water and get them established. And they get established a little more slowly, not a whole lot of top growth this time of year. Excuse me, but come springtime, they'll be ready to put it on. When you put them in the ground, dig the hole, they say 1.5 to 2 times as wide, no deeper than what they were growing in their pot. You don't wish to bury that up further than up onto the stems. And you can, if you're going to use mulch, you can actually leave that up about 1 inch to 2 inches out of the ground and put your mulch up to that root ball so that you're not burying those stems and getting them too close to the trunks and to the stems and causing some health issues for your plants. So, and then watering them, that's the biggest thing, is getting them properly watered. Water that root ball before you start. And make sure that root ball is good and moist. When you put it in, water it again to make sure that you've settled all that soil around those roots so there's no air pockets in there. And then regular watering, like every day. And it's not put the hose on there and walk in and go have a sandwich and an iced tea.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes when you buy a product, it'll say like 99.9% inert ingredients,
right,
and then like 0.1% active ingredients. In gardening, can you buy the active ingredient and water it down yourself?
Yes, that's called a concentrate.
Okay, and is it cheap? Is it cheaper that way?
It is cheaper that way because, like you say, if you're buying a gallon ready mix, just for example, $5 for a gallon, and it's ready to go. You can take that home, give it a little shake, spray the perimeter of your house, and you're done. You might have used the whole gallon and throw away the empty jug. You buy a concentrate of that product, you're going to take and you're going to mix, just for an example, 2 ounces into a gallon of water.
Okay.
And if that was a quart bottle, how many gallons are you getting? 16 gallons. 16 gallons
of struggling
that.
Right there.
And if you paid $20 for that, but you paid $20 for 16 gallons where you just paid $5 for one.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
And if you buy the one first, because I'll even have people say, okay, go ahead and try this. If you like it, here it is in the small trigger spray bottle. You now have a bottle to mix it into.
So, are there any cons to that, or is it all good? I mean, as long as you know how to measure.
So long as you know how to measure, and you make sure you keep your instruction book, and that you have a sprayer. Now, if it's for herbicides, you want a dedicated sprayer. You don't want to use that sprayer that you used for your lawn weed control or your Roundup or anything, to use the fungicide on your roses.
Right, yeah, that would make sense,
the only downside would be is if you only have a few plants. And you only have, a small problem that you're not constantly out there. It was, a little house plant thing, or you're just watching plants for a neighbor while they're out of town, but you yourself don't have any plants, and you saw a bug on your neighbor's plant. And so you need to, whatever. But usually there's no downside to buying a concentrate.
And is it marketed as a concentrate?
Yes. It says right on the label. It says right on the label that it's a concentrate and has the mixing instructions on the back. Some of your concentrates will actually come as a hose end, which makes it a little more convenient. It's exactly the same thing as the bottle that you would take and measure and pour into your sprayer, but it's when you connect to the hose and it has a Venturi tube.
Oh, and it automatically
when you turn the faucet, it mixes it as it blows through there, as that water comes
and
across
it's the right
there.
Mix?
And it's the correct mix for that. It's just the only drawback on those is it's your garden hose goes as far as it will. One of the pluses is you don't have to mix. The water pressure on your garden hose may allow you to spray higher up into a tree than, say, a pump sprayer might. Pump sprayer is only going to spray just a couple feet away from where you're at. So if you're needing to spray higher, you can. It mixes it on its own. The one drawback would be is, again, usually a lot of times those bottles aren't reusable because I guess if you unscrew them, it messes somehow with the seal to it. And that if there are different mixing strengths, like you can do this strength for spraying the lawn, and you do this strength for spraying the ornamental landscape plants, you're not going to necessarily get that choice. You're going to have the lesser, the lower rate usually. So you may have a little less use areas on something like that, but it is they can be quite convenient.
We have about 5 minutes left in the show. If you'd like to squeeze in a last phone call, you are invited to do that now. The number is 622-9622. And perhaps something Carol Ann said today has gotten you excited. Maybe
it's great. It's great out. It's great weather out. It's going to be great the rest of this week. I think we finally broke. I think it finally broke. I think fall's here.
Yeah, you think that hurricane's not going to mess with us too much?
Yeah, not too bad. We're going to get wet, but hey, it doesn't stop anything. But again, going back and and I know everybody says, so stop talking about the holidays. It's I'm not ready. But if you're a gardener, if you have a friend who's a gardener and you're looking to get something for them and you don't necessarily want to go online to have to order something, this is the time you better be looking in the stores because the holidays are coming. This stuff doesn't ship back in as quickly to stores. So pruners and things like that, maybe you had an eye on earlier in the season, could be sold out or of limited supply because the stores have had to make room for their holiday displays and holiday products. It comes and goes real quickly a lot of times. Come Christmas, they're already setting back up for spring. But if you're seeing things that that you want to get, certain gardening gloves, tools, some of your basic tools will always be there, but sometimes some of the neat stuff is gone, or you may need to shop online. But there's all kinds of different ones, and actually there's one I think I'm going to reply to an email that said some samples, and so we might try to get some samples of some stuff to give away. And one of them was like a lanyard for your cell phone.
What does that do?
It's just something to put your cell phone in so it's not in your pocket.
Oh, okay.
You're not setting it down somewhere because maybe you have found one of these gardening apps that works on being able to ID plants or maybe
mine didn't work.
Yeah, no, yours was kind of ineffectual. Or it's your camera there. You want a picture of the flower or the bug, whatever. And so it puts your phone a little handier by keeping it clean. And keeping it from being lost.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good
idea. Because some of us, it's at the end of the day, you're sitting there having to. I'm so glad I have a extra screen on my case there because my screen gets muddy. Because I use it at work. So, but. Just some of those, but and so even something like that, I'd probably stay away from the apps. But garden journals, garden guides, garden books are fantastic. The Farmer's Almanac make great gifts. Also, there's all kinds of publications that the Ag Center has, and they carry them many times on the Mobile Plant Clinic. For purchase that are the University of Florida publications, which are all going to be publications for, guess where? Florida. Not the Southeast, not the East Coast, not worldwide, but for us.
Hey, I have one quick question about the Christmas tree. I just thought of that spray-on flocking stuff.
Oh, the snow stuff?
Yeah. Is it damaging to the tree if you want to have a tree that's alive after the holidays?
I probably would not put it onto a live tree. Yeah. Fresh cut, yes. And they actually even have weird colored spray paints out now for fresh cut trees. And it's like, really?
Oh, really?
Why would I want a purple Christmas tree?
And you wouldn't flock the poinsettias. You wouldn't do that.
No. But I have seen, you do see in the stores ones that have a glitter on them.
I have seen that.
And it must be a water soluble adhesive holding that to them.
Okay.
But then again, too, they will lose some leaves, so it's not going to be deadly to it. Mm-hmm. But would be be careful if you try your own doing something like that.
We got about 1 minute left, Carol Ann. So do you have to work today?
No, I'm off today.
Oh, that's always a good feeling, right?
Yeah, it is.
So do you like when there's an approaching storm? Do you like the gloomy look out there?
Not usually. No? I'm a person who really likes sunshine. But you can get into a day or two here. But yeah, when it's extended gloom, no, that's not for me.
No, extended is that's when you get cabin fever or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Carol Ann.
Oh, always my pleasure.
For everybody, if you want to share what Carol Ann just talked about, we did make this a recording. It'll be up on Facebook and on YouTube in about a few minutes.
All right.
We do it pretty quickly nowadays. Thank you, Carol Ann.
Thanks, Larry.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. Justice Brett Kavanaugh is about to hear arguments in his first case on the Supreme Court.
Both cases this morning deal with criminal statutes and sentencing for repeat offenders. Tomorrow, justices will hear arguments in a question about federal detention and immigration cases. But Kavanaugh's influence could also direct what future cases the court takes up on hot-button social issues like abortion and religious freedom.
Fox's Jared Halpern in D.C. There were some protesters there when Justice Kavanaugh arrived. President Trump tweets, "Our country is very proud of him and his family." Hurricane Michael is a Category 2 storm now. It could get stronger before it hits Florida tomorrow. Governor Rick Scott.
Hurricane Michael is forecast to be the most destructive storm to hit the Florida Panhandle in decades. The storm will be life-threatening and extremely dangerous.
A state of emergency has been declared in Alabama as well. This is Fox News.
Pros in the know start with Lowe's, because Lowe's